and we're live on Facebook. Hi,
Okay.
everyone. My name is K.O. Morris. I'm the BIPOC Program and Digital Media Coordinator and Total Pride Director for Oklahomans for Equality. And today, for our Core Black Voices series, we have Donald Rose. And Donald, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Welcome everyone, and thank you for asking me to be your subject for today. And thank you. And my name is Donald Rose Jr. and I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So, as we talk throughout the evening, if you have any questions, j- just um just drop them in the comment section, and then we'll get to them as we move through the evening. So our first question for tonight is, where did you grow up?
I grew up here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and grew up here in Tulsa. Graduated from high school here, and so that's where I started off all this great success here in Tulsa.
Did you play in any sports in
No, I was not a sports person, and I think about that all the time. And I go back and I did play in the band. I played the clarinet. I couldn't tell you where to begin. I now, but I had a dynamic music teacher, Wilbert Harris. He's passed on, but he was a great music teacher, and I was in the marching band in high school, and that was fun. It was exciting, and there's no experience like being in and marching band and the fun and excitement of going and traveling different places, and we traveled all over the place.
Yes. Okay, so I also was in marching band. I played the percussions, bass drum, snare drums, and cymbals. I tried to play the quads, but too many drums, too many movements is out of my league. But you're right. Being in marching band is like one of the best things ever in high school. You get to travel, you get to go to football games. It's very it's a experience that people
Yeah.
miss out on. My short story. I had a friend who was also in band with me in middle school, but he didn't take it in high school,
And
and
that was
now I tell
fun. It
him,
was exciting.
and now I
There's
tell him
no
that he should
experience.
have,
Short
and
story. I had a
and that
friend.
he just missed out on a lot of good things. But anywho, so growing up in Tulsa, how was your childhood?
My childhood was pretty much the experience of growing up and going to school. I tell my cousins all the time that live in the suburbs of Chicago, there's nothing like the experience of growing up in an all black school. I grew up in North Tulsa, and so at that time it was all black schools, and being different, as we're going to be touching on later, uh, just different. That was an experience by itself, but I felt as though it was difficult being young, black, and I considered us to be poor, but that's just part of the experience of I survived. So I'm here now to talk about it, but I just felt like it was a struggle.
Hmm, hmm. Um, so you said that it was hard, kind of being kind of being different. Um, um, when did you discover or kind of feel that you was like different from other people your age? Because I know, um, around fifth, sixth grade is when, like, I knew that I was kind of different, but I didn't know. But I did know. But it really didn't click until I got older. But I did know. So I just want to know, like, what was that? When did you discover you was different than the other boys?
That's a good question, and I thank you for sharing that. It kind of gives me an insight of. I always think back to when I was growing up. I'm the oldest of nine children, and being the oldest, you're subjected to a few more different things than the other siblings are. And in a family like ours, being a large family, I was subjected to some sexual behaviors by an older cousin that I shouldn't have been privy to when I was a young man. And now that I'm in counseling, I can share these things. I'm okay. But it was just being a victim of childhood sexual battery. It it's always never something comfortable to talk about. But I knew then I was maybe around maybe 7 or 8 when I realized that I was different from the other boys and I had an attraction to boys instead of girls, but I still didn't know what it was. And that's part of the experience of growing up and learning.
It is, and you mentioned experiencing sexual assault, and not only that, also being the oldest of nine. I am the oldest of seven on my dad's side, the only child by my mom. Um, but I also, as a young kid, experienced the same sexual assault. I
Mhm.
don't really talk about it. This probably be my third time even talking about it publicly. But I'm glad you brought that up because when that happened, what was that ever a time that you felt like it was your fault, or that it was, or that your attraction toward the same sex was somehow tied to that sexual assault?
And now that you say that, I've learned because of the counseling that it's not your guilt to carry. It's something that you do carry. However, it was something that my little young mind couldn't process. And still, many years later, I was still struggling with that. Now that I've received the counseling and the understanding, I can deal with it better. And now I realize that they can no longer hurt me with their words or their actions because I'm in a safe place. And I just felt as though it took me many years to learn this. And so, never feel as though you're the cause of that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that is a key point that anyone who experienced sexual assault should know that it's not your fault and it's not your guilt to carry or to be burdened with. That being said, when did you officially come out? What was the story like? Because I came out spring break my freshman year of high school. I wrote a note on my dresser because I knew my mom would clean my room, and I wrote a note, and I just told her that I was bisexual, just how I felt, and then I still remember like it was yesterday. And I was out later in the night hanging out with friends, and I get a phone call, and it was not a pleasant phone call when she found the note, but that moment really really changed my life because at that moment I decided to take the step to be myself, the first step into being myself fully and openly in all my glory. And that did cause trauma along the way, but it was just a moment to remember. So I would like to know, what was your coming out story?
Mine was uh, being as you're growing up, and in our community, that it's not easy. That's the hardest thing that we'll probably ever do in our life is to come out or to expose yourself in that way because you're going to be ostracized. You're going to be, different. And our times are different because you're younger than myself. You were probably Your experience was probably a lot more smoother than mine. I carried that for many years. I was already an adult before I decided that I was going to tell my mom that I was gay. She
Mhm.
already knew because she's my mother. And same with my dad. My dad, we've never really sit down and had an open discussion about it, but he's very supportive in everything that I do. But my mother, when I was in my mid 20s, I believe I felt the need to tell my mother just in case, because I did not personally feel as though uh, being coming from the community that I came from, and community of growing to all black schools, I just felt like my life was already predestined. That I was lucky if I made it to the age of 30. And
Mhm.
that time I was 25, so I felt like, oh well, let me share this just in case I die. I don't want people to say bad things about me, but that's my experience of coming out.
Yeah, and the more I hear you talk, the more like our stories kind of line up, because like my dad, like I'm out, I live my life, I don't hide anything. Um but my mom knows I'm bi, gay, whatever, um, queer. But my dad, my I have not sat down with my dad and had a conversation. But I don't hide anything. It's not like I'm hiding myself. I just haven't had that moment with my dad,
Right.
and I don't know why. It's not like he doesn't know. But I just it just haven't happened. But it was just funny hearing you say that, because that's what I'm going through. And also, you were saying how you being older and me being younger, and my experience of coming out and being queer, whatever, is a lot easier than yours was. And last night, after I got off of work, I was hanging out with my roommate, and we was talking about Lil Nas X and the video and whatnot. And we were saying how awesome it is for kids these days to have that person to look up to, and
Mhm.
for someone to be a young black queer kid being himself in front of everybody, and how the kids now have it good. And just like
Yeah.
how you said I had it good, I'm like, oh, they have it good. I wish I had that. And it's funny, but it also shows that we're moving and that we're progressing as a society. And that's what we should be doing at every generation: improve the life
Yeah.
for the next people coming up behind us. I love that. Yeah. So how do you identify? Do you identify being gay, queer, bisexual? How does that play into your
Well,
identity?
I'm actually a gay black male. However, I did look up the word queer and just to make sure that I was on the right track. And it says strange, odd, or unusual, and I fit all those categories. And then when I'm in this group that is in the VA, now the VA is starting to become uh, more friendly to our community where we can talk about it openly. And so I'm in this group and they gave us this book. There's so many different acronyms associated with this lifestyle till it would take us the whole hour just to even name them. So I was just like, okay, let me look this up and make sure that I'm on the right track. But when I look at queer, it is correct. I mean, it fits all of our lifestyles. So I am queer, I'm gay, I'm a black male, and I identify as a uh, gay black male. However, I am married to my partner of 23 years, and that's something that I'm very proud of. That now I can be happy about something in 2021. I can say yes, I am happy and I'm proud to be a male married to my husband.
Awesome. That's amazing. Just a quick little something about the word queer. And again, if you have any questions throughout the night, for the
Mhm.
people who are watching, Don't forget to just put the questions in the comment section, and we'll get to them. But the word queer. So I had a phone call yesterday talking to someone about the word queer. They didn't like it because back in the oldie timey days, queer was a slur, and so a lot of older LGBT people in our community don't like the word, don't agree, don't want to hear it. But also at the same time, a lot of younger queer kids my age are more comfortable using the word queer because it's encompassing of all LGBTQ identities. Um, so I would just want to put that out there. There's a battle between using the word queer and gay and wherever the case may be. That being said, how did you and your partner meet?
We met through a friend many years ago, and we've been together ever since.
It's awesome. That's awesome. May I ask, is your partner Black?
Yes, he is.
How do you feel about so I'm in a Facebook group, and there was a lot of comments about gay Black men not being sewn together. It's always a Black man with a white woman, or a Black man with a white male. It's never Black love. Basically that's what the conversation is about: Black love, and gay Black love, and how that really isn't uplifted in our community. So you being married to your partner for over 20 years, how did y'all find that, and what do you think is the issue with the media, and just the Black queer community in general, not being able to have such a strong positive role models for queer Black men?
For so many years, and let me correct you on one thing. We haven't been married for 20 years, but we've been together for 23 years, but we've been married for 3 years. So since the law changed. Oh no, you're fine. No, that's great. Yes, and that's ironic that you say that, because that is a stereotype that a lot of people in our community have, that it cannot be successful. It takes some work, like it does with every relationship. It's not easy, and it's not a walk in the park, but we've made that commitment to ourselves and to one another that this is it. I am not going to put myself back out there on that market to try to do this again, but we're going to make it work. And our families, they get along, and both of us are accepted in each other's families. And then we have a slew of friends from all nationalities.
Um, I'm glad you brought up your family, and just to kind of go back a little bit. When you came out, did that affect your relationship with your family?
No, it did not with my immediate family. I do have some family members that are not as well. I would say they are not in tune with what's going on in the world today, and they seem to have an issue with my lifestyle, but it's not me. I just think it's them, and they have to get a grip. I'm living for Donald, not for somebody else. So
You're totally right about that. Are you religious?
oh yes, I am. I saw that question. I was like, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of my things here. In me and the church. I've been in the church all my life, and that's part of my being. Is I was always brought up in the church as a Baptist. However, in today's society, you have to understand that it's part of the, I don't know it's part of the background of the way these people were raised or the way they were taught that they can't accept change and understand that yes, men are going to be married to men, women are going to be married to women, and they're going to want to have their religion uh, just like everyone else. But if you meet them at the door and tell them that they're not welcome, they're not going to come.
Hmm.
And organized religion, it's it's difficult at times. It really is. It be part of an organized religious group in today's society for me. I've been struggling.
No, no, you're totally right about that. Because I know I come from I said this in one of our spirit Zooms that we have every Thursday. They talk about sexuality and spirituality. And I grew up. My great grandpa was a reverend. Every Sunday, first one's there, last one's to leave. Wednesday Bible school, Saturday Bible school, Wednesday Bible study. My bad. But that being said, I grew up around religions all my life, and then as I got older in around middle school, high school, my family kind of stopped going to church, but I still kept going, even though I knew I was into guys and I was gay or bi. And when I came out, I felt like the church didn't have my back, and and like I was like kicked out. So I stopped going to church, and I haven't been back. So that was just my little 2 cents on religion. But like you said, organized religion can be very damaging, and we have to know, that when we say things and speak things from the pupil, that they have real consequences, and that we should be careful about how we say God's word.
And you have to look at too, uh, gay men have been around for a long time. They've been
Mhm.
gay men, gay women, people,
You're
people,
right.
uh, people that don't even identify,
Hmm.
that are still closeted, that were still closeted when they died. They were part of the church. They were the musicians. They were the ushers. They were the preachers in some cases. And so, how do you how do you separate that? And how do you determine who's accepted and who's not accepted? So that's
Hmm.
where I have an issue at. And you were right on exactly what you said. And what they do is they end up running the people that's doing the work away.
They do, and that's only going to self harm them in the long run. Um, that being said, did you ever have any doubts or worries about God loving or accepting you?
Oh no, not me. No, 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 no. I feel as though I always felt as though God made me, so He's the one. He designed me perfect. He
Hmm.
designed me perfect to be who I was supposed to be, and He designed you perfect for who you're supposed to be. I can't. I'm not God, so I can't determine your relationship with God or anyone else's relationship with God. But I feel as though He designed me perfect, and no one can change that.
Period.
Yes, yes.
Okay, kind of just switch it up.
Okay.
You are a U.S. Army veteran.
Yes.
Um, what made you join the army?
Okay. My grandfather was a veteran as well, and my grandfather had this rule. I think it only applied to me, but it was once you graduated, you had 1 year to make a decision, and that was either you were going to go to college or you were going to join the military. So I thought, okay, I'll enjoy my year. It was fun. And then I just said, okay, just to appease him, I'm going to go and take tests and do all the other things, but I'm not actually going to join the military. When I got there, they tricked me and I raised my hand. And the next thing you know, I was on a flight to New Jersey. And I was like, oh no, I gotta go home and say bye to my family. And they were like, you take the clothes that you had in that bag and you're gone. We're gonna give you some new uniforms when you get there.
What was your favorite place to travel? Well,
Uh,
place did you visit during the army?
and hopefully some of my buddies are on here, and some of the girls and some of the guys that I was stationed with in Germany. We have a little group that we talk in Facebook, and we're planning a gathering here in Georgia later on this year, and we're going to do a reunion. And it's been over 30 years since we've seen each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we're excited. We're getting excited. Yeah, so Germany, that was our place. And we have some stories that we have to discuss them amongst ourselves before we can share them with the rest of the world. Because those were some things that we had so much fun over in Europe. I'm telling you, those people, they are near and dear to me. And I hope and pray that they're watching this.
It's funny you say that because I also have a friend who's also in Germany right now, stationed in Germany at the moment, and it seems like he's having the best time of his life.
Oh man.
And
I'll tell you, that was the best. That was the most exciting time I've ever had in my life.
maybe I need to join the military. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I say everyone needs to at least have 4 years.
So some people, some countries actually have that. I think South Korea has it, Israel has it. So while in the army, did you ever experience racism or homophobia overseas or in the military?
This was always the military rule when I was in. I guess others had already paved that path for us, for me rather. Let me say that the rule, the thing was always everyone wears a green uniform. We all bleed red, so we're all the same. And that way, and by then you had people in positions such as there was general officers and there was lieutenants and colonels that were African American. So it was more becoming more of a diverse army. So I didn't really experience the racism like some others would say that they did. But
Um, sorry about that. I lost my
oh
train of
no,
thought.
you're fine.
Um, if you have any questions for us, don't forget to drop them in the comment section. Um, what was your first experience at the Equality Center?
Oh, okay. The Equality Center. Let me see. Back when in the late '90s or mid '90s, late '90s, there was a organization here in Tulsa that was called Friends in Unity. It was a group of Black gay men, and I had a really dear friend and a classmate. His name was Robert Renfro. He was active. He was an activist, and I mean, he was very active in the community. And he was very adamant that African Americans should always have a voice at the table. So I attribute our conversation to him. I want to dedicate this conversation to Robert Renfro because he was an activist before activism was really popular like it is now. And I mean, I wish you would have had the opportunity to meet him because he was very vocal in the community. He was adamant that as gay men, we were to be seen and not just a shadow in the background. And we did a lot of things, and we tried to get the uh, younger guys and girls to be more active and part of the community. And we did do a lot. Now that we're older and the organization no longer exists, it's great that we have this great organization, the Equality Center here in Tulsa. I mean, there's none like it. I mean, I sit on a board in Oklahoma City, uh, with which deals with hepatitis and HIV. I'm on the planning council for the Oklahoma Planning Council, and we are just excited about the things that the Equality Center sends us. What you're doing.
That's awesome, and you're right. More people should be activists. More people, not even activists. Just help out in your community in whichever way you can. You know, you don't have to do it all and be the biggest and the best. You just have to do your part and just to chip in. Because when you chip in, I chip in, they chip in. Before you know, we have a whole unit to really get stuff moving and a good cause for the community. So younger people should advocate for themselves and advocate for next people coming up behind them, because you know we're all in this together and we all have to help one another. That being said, do you think it was harder to find queer Black friends?
Uh, Not for me, because we were always the ones that were isolated, and we had to have uh, always. I felt as though we were always in the shadows, in the background, and and dealing with just even with the AIDS and the HIV epidemics. Uh, African Americans were always the last ones to find out about the new cutting edge medications that were out there, and the good doctors that were available for them and different things of that sort. So I just wish that more people would be more willing to stand up and advocate like yourself. I'm so proud of the things that you're doing, and uh, I'm I'm amazed that you being so active and so young. I like that. That's great.
Thank you, thank you. You know, I'm just following my heart, doing what I think that needs to be done, and just doing my part. Like you said, we like I said, we all have a part to play, and 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 I'm just doing my part. You know. That being said, what advice would you give to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
My younger self, I have grown to a point where I feel as though I'm learning something new still, like learning what younger people like yourself consider queer. If you want to call yourself queer, I'm all in for it. I'm gonna call myself queer. I'm happy. It's nothing but a word,
Mhm.
and it means the same thing as gay, as homosexual. It's different. It's unusual. It's unusual what other people consider unusual, but not what we would consider unusual. I feel as though I'm just as normal as the next guy, and I just felt as though uh, I would tell my younger self to be more responsible and not to worry about what others have to say, because people always, when they see you doing great things, they're always going to find the bad in the good that you're doing. So, just be more resilient. I would be.
Yes, yes.
We
Would
would consider.
again, if you have any questions to me or to Donald Rose, don't forget to put them in the comment section and we'll get to them. Um, what advice would you give to younger queer Black kids?
I think that they would be more well versed if they did do like yourself and be involved with community things such as remember, we me and yourself, we were trying to get together, and right before the pandemic, we were starting our planning process. We were going to do something big and, very different. So, I mean, we still can do that, and it's still going to happen. I know that you're going to contact me, so I'm just waiting on the phone call. So, but
No,
just
no, actually, I do need to contact you because someone asked me if we can do that, and I was like, me and this person, me and you, was planning this last year, but then COVID happened and we couldn't do it. So some people in the community still wants to put on an urban pride, and yeah.
okay. Oh,
We'll make
awesome.
it happen.
Okay, all right, good. I think about that all the time, and I'm like, oh, that is one of the things that I really would like to see the younger generation more involved in. I want them sitting at the table with us planning these things, because my ideals are not always the best ideals. And I'm like, I know you probably feel the same way. I like to hear a collective voice of different
Mhm.
ideals from the community, and some more diversity with women and other minority groups, such as the other brown people like ourselves.
Mhm. No. You're totally right. You were hitting all the notes tonight. Yeah. We definitely need all more diversity in the communities that we serve, because we know that they're here. We know that they exist. It's just finding a way to engage with them and them engaging with us, and doing the work to better serve our community as a whole. Um, that being said, do you have any thoughts or comments that you would like to share to our audience who is watching tonight that we didn't go over or talk about?
Yeah, I actually do. I actually do. There's two agencies also that I don't know how closely you work with them, but there's Guiding Right. They're here in Tulsa as well as Oklahoma City,
Mhm.
and I work with them on our board in Oklahoma City, and then we have Tulsa Cares as well. I'm a volunteer over there as well, and I just feel as though if anyone is thinking that they need somebody to talk to, they always have the Equality Center, but then you also have them. And then don't forget about Hope as well for free testing and counseling. So those agencies are just dynamic. And I just feel as though they don't get enough recognition through the community about the work that they do and how they can better help our city with the young community, and the older population as well. You're never too old to learn. So
You're right. You're
that
right.
was
You're
my
never
advice.
too old to learn,
Yes.
and I learn something new every day. So you're never too old to learn. You should always keep learning. Um, I don't have any more questions. I do
Okay.
I do would like to know. Actually, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
Um, so thank you all for tuning in for April's Queer Black Voices series with Donna Rose. Again, I'm so glad to have you, and I'm so glad that you agreed to come and talk to me and share your story, and us talk about these issues affecting queer Black people, and just telling your journey, your story, because that's how we grow, that's how we learn, that's how we uplift each other, is by sharing our stories and connecting, and and all of that good amazing stuff. And and yeah, that's it for tonight. And again, I won't forget about our urban pride, because we are going to make it happen.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. If there isn't any questions, this will be the conclusion to our Queer Black Voices series with Donna Rose. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Friday evening.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys
I,
and
I
girls.
know you'll be in touch with me soon, so I'll be looking forward to that.
Oh, definitely. It'll be very soon, I promise.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
You too. You too.
Okay.